I couldn't fool around with the zoom on that other camera, so I was always just like, I
Yeah.
even enlarged it and I was still like way back there. This already looks 10 times better.
Yeah, I agree.
But we're recording now. I hope you appreciate the camera change that I made on this. We're here for episode 28 of the Rundown. As you can see, there's some changes on the rundown here. We're going to go with just 5 topics today. We're discontinuing, at least temporarily, the only topic that stayed for 27 episodes which was leak of the week. Ramfy, if you're still watching any of these, that was your idea. We kept it going for a long time. Not to say that we're not going to include any leaks, but I figured instead of trying to force leaks every time, we'll just include them when there's something that we really like. And even the same with topics. So instead of forcing 7 topics, this week we just picked 5 topics and we're going to go through these. So we're going to start with the open beta, and then there was just a town hall this morning for us, or last night, we're going to get into, and then we'll get into the rest of the topics here. I guess it's been the elephant in the room, or whatever you want to call it, an open beta delay. Like we talked about this at least a little bit in every episode. Q4 seemed like it was going to be tough, and we finally get the announcement that it was pushed to Q1, along with the announcement of PvP getting pushed off, which I know that disappoints you. What are your thoughts on this right now? Like, you were just itching to get your hands on PvP, and now it's pushed.
Fuck the Illuvium team. No, I'm just kidding. I am very disappointed. It's just really disappointing that we're not getting it in Q3, especially after the murderous Q2 where they hit everything on the spot. Nobody had anything to complain about. Like, even if PvP came out on the last day of Q3, they could still be like, hey, look, we hit these dates. It does give me a little bit less confidence going into the future with the roadmap, but I did hear that they have someone now on the back end stuff, because the back end stuff apparently was the problem with the PvP, is they were having troubles with it crashing all the time. And but I have heard that it's been doing a lot better recently, like the past few days. But
Yeah.
yeah, they have a new back end blockchain lead. Is that his name? That's going to help them come up with better dates and move through with that process a lot
Yeah,
smoother from
I
now
didn't
on.
catch the person's name, but
Yeah, me
going
neither.
into some of the topics that were talked about in the town hall, they did have a new hire that I guess is going to, some whatever expertise they have is going to give them more accurate time frames, and I guess a full analysis hasn't really been done yet. So even Kieran in the announcement said, like, after everything is like analyzed more, they're even open to pushing open beta back even further, which I would hate to see that. But when it comes to PvP, Kieran did mention that he almost didn't change the roadmap for PvP because it was really close.
Yeah.
So even though it's changed to just Q4, I still think there's a chance that that could come out sooner than later. I don't think you
Even
should automatically be thinking, oh, now it's going to be mid-December. Sometime in October, we do get PvP. And he
yeah,
was talking about playing with Rich. They're getting through matches without bugs or crashes, but there still are a lot of bugs and crashes.
I recently spoke with Nick. He said he was playing. He didn't have any crashes. Rich today told me he didn't have any crashes when he was playing it. So those are all good signs. And I think even in the announcement message where they changed it, they were like, "There's still a very small chance we could get it out in Q3." Which, I mean, I don't think that's gonna happen. I mean, not
Yeah,
that I have insider information, but at this point, I would say just stick with Q4 and make sure it comes out properly. But
yeah.
yeah, I'm in the same boat. I don't think it'll be that much of a delay. I doubt it would be more than a month, to be honest.
And unlike you, like I know you're really itching for that PvP. Like for me, it's more about the open beta. I just want to get on chain. Like I'm
Yeah,
excited for PvP, but even for me, like that's gonna be another one of those. Like I'm excited for it for a couple weeks. I'll play it a lot, and then I'll be like, I just need to own these, and I need to wait for that open beta. So
sure.
I mean, I was definitely disappointed, and I was really hoping, like in the middle of the winter, at least winter for us over here, when it's freaking snowing and cold as shit outside. Like that's when I want to be in and like be
Exactly.
grinding this game. And then if it, I can see now it coming out in like the spring for us when it's starting to get nice and I want to get outside, and then I'm like, now I want to grind this game. I'm definitely disappointed, and as much as I was really hoping for it, like this wasn't a big surprise to me. We've talked about it before. I think we both predicted it would be more like January, and could still be January, maybe it's February, hopefully by March now.
I mean, I was about to say as long as it comes out and it works, I'll be happy. But no, I want it in Q1 for sure.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, PvP is huge for me too, but like the open beta is its own spectacle. It's like really we're going to see the first AAA blockchain game actually work, and it's actually going to be fun, and it's just a really exciting time. And not to mention, whether people want to admit it or not, yeah, we can have PvP now, but once we own our assets, for me personally at least, especially with all the skins and stuff, I love skins. When we have the skins, we own those alluvials, it's just going to have such a different meaning. It's going to be, I don't know, it's going to be so much cooler and be able to keep my attention a lot longer personally.
Yeah. Kieran said something, I even put like a quote here. He said like, everyone's been, like, some people have been waiting for 3 years, like, what's a little bit more time? And like, I knew that was,
Don't
like, there are
fucking
people
play me
out
like
there.
that, Kieran. I
Yeah,
will
there are
smack
people
the
out
shit
there
out
who
of
are
you.
just hate to hear that. Even, like, I heard it and I was just like, okay, for me, I get it. What's a little bit more time?
Yeah.
But for a lot of people, they probably hear that and they're just like, what's a little more time? 2 years more time?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Yeah, at this point, like, I really am in that boat. Like, what is a little more time? I just want it to come out and be good. I'm invested completely with my time and my money, so like, I'm not going anywhere just because of a little delay. All right,
Generally, that's how I feel about open beta. More time, it's
Yeah.
okay. But PvP, like, I need to make content. Let's pick it up.
True. All right, so let's move on. So touch a little bit on what happened in that town hall, but there are a lot of other things that went on in that town hall. When I watched it, there was less than 100 views on it. So I don't know if it just didn't get pushed out to a lot of people. It had already been out for, I don't know, 8 or 10 hours when I watched it. So I'm sure there's a lot of people watching this that haven't even listened to that town hall. I'd recommend go listening to it. Like,
For sure.
it was pretty good information. We're going to attempt to recap it in, 5 to 7 minutes right here. So, I don't know. Do you want to start with this? Anything you want to bring up from that town hall? I do have a list of a bunch of things that happened that we're talking about.
No, you go ahead and start.
Hi, go ahead. All right.
Yeah.
What was expected in this town hall was Kieran and Aaron, and then it ended up just being like Aaron couldn't make it, so then it was Kieran and Grant. So we had Grant on there talking about some things, which is nice because I feel like we don't hear from Grant a whole lot outside of those showcases that he does. But he mentioned a few things about the overworld, how they revamped the whole like lighting and color of it so that it's less strenuous on the eyes. And he was literally saying like, make it easier on the eyes that you can sit in front of the computer longer and play more. I don't know if maybe when I was younger, when I was a kid, but I haven't had like 6, 8, 10-hour days of just playing games in front of a computer. Like, I can't imagine doing that, but I know there are some people who are going to do that. Maybe you streaming PvP. Yeah. But I mean, that's always a good change. That one of those things that you would never know if it wasn't brought up.
Yeah, I think a lot of the parts in Abyssal Basin specifically need that lighting change, and it's already beautiful. I can't wait to see it when it's finished.
Yeah. So he also said he was actually talking specifically about Abyssal Basin, but I guess all of them, they're working on like the overworld like pathing, so you don't go into something like Abyssal Basin like I know I did, and just be like, I have no clue where I'm going, what I'm doing. This map is so big. So he said there's going to be more of a direction laid out for you. I don't know exactly what that means or what that looks like, but it seems like you're going to be able to hop into these regions and kind of like have an idea of where you want to go. So you're not just spending 5 minutes walking off in one direction to find a wall that you can't get past, and then you feel like you just wasted time.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't be able to find it, but there's a picture of Crimson Waste with that updated pathing, and you wouldn't think something like that would make that huge of a difference, but it really does. Not only does it make it look better, when you're playing the game, it's a lot easier to maneuver around because, I mean, let's face it, Crimson Waste, a lot of it looks the same. Abyssal Basin, a lot of it looks the same because there's so much going on everywhere. That defined path is going to help a lot, along with the lighting changes. I can't stop thinking about Abyssal Basin. I love that place. Yeah.
I know, yeah, that's my favorite one that's out so far. So he said that we have the 3 regions that are out right now. He said Taiga Boreal is the one that's next to being finished, and he says that's almost ready to go, and which I'm pretty excited about that too. Maybe not as much as Abyssal Basin, but it's just going to be cool to get another new region. And then after Taiga Boreal, we're looking at Halcyon Sea. And then they did mention, or Kieran mentioned, that they'll likely start out open beta with 4 or 5 regions. So now at least we know the regions that we're probably not going to get when open beta comes. So it's going to be the 3 that we have now. If it's 4, it's going to be Taiga Boreal. If we get the 5, it's going to be Halcyon Sea. This is something that's always been a thing. But he just kind of reminded us that when open beta starts on day 1, we're still not going to be able to go into all these regions. Somebody's going to have to find a way to unlock these regions. And we also don't know how long that's going to take. But let's say it takes 2 weeks when everybody's only playing Crimson Waste before somebody finds the Easter egg or whatever that unlocks the next region. Like, that's going to make it seem like there's something new going on for months, giving them more time to prepare those final 2 or 3 regions. So that's going to be pretty cool too. It's not like open beta is going to come and you're going to feel like the game's incomplete. You're going to be trying to unlock these regions, and then hopefully by the time you get to that 5th and 6th region to unlock, they're ready to go.
Yeah. I actually think it would be cooler if we only started off with 3 regions. I think releasing a new region every like 3 or 4 months until we have all of them would be super cool hype events that the community would rally and get hyped behind.
Yeah. The tough part about that is that the alluvials that you're going to be able to catch in each region, if you start with, say, only, 3 regions, then there's going to be a higher supply of the alluvials that can come out of those regions. I'm sure they can...
No, all of the alluvials are going to be able to be captured.
But not at the same... No, different regions are going to have... Well, they'll all be capturable, but, like, if you're in the Halcyon Sea, you're going to see more water alluvials than you're going to see fire alluvials.
Sure, but I think they're going to balance that at open beta. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they're balancing how all of the alluvials come in that wouldn't normally be found in the 3 regions on release, or 4.
So balancing it until all 7 are out and then kind of let it do its thing.
That's what I thought, but I could be wrong on that. Nick,
yeah, I'm not sure. I know they did that for the private beta. Like, I wasn't sure about the open beta, but I mean, we'll see. That would make sense for it to be balanced in some way. But either way, I do like it that they're just not all going to be there at once. Even if however it is that you unlock these next regions, maybe they like figure it out so it does take like 2 or 3 months, and then the next one comes, and then 2 or 3 months. That I would like that too, because it kind of gives you time to just explore all one, and then when you need another boost of excitement, the next one comes.
Yep.
It would be pretty cool. So they also talked about updating the website, and there are some leaks out there now, and the website looks like it's going to be awesome. They're kind of separating out the games a little bit, so there's going to be like a different landing page for the overworld, for the auto battler, for Illuvium Zero. One of the main things Kieran talked about is for marketing, and if they're reaching out to a target audience of PvP and auto battlers, they want them to come to a page that, really shows what that's about. And if they're maybe targeting people from like the Pokemon world or the Monster Collector world, they're going to want to direct them to the overworld page. And then if there is a mobile player, they'll direct them to Illuvium Zero. So I think that makes a lot of sense, and it just looks a lot better. Like, they showed some alluvial pages where you can just bring up the alluvial and see that full NFT art and then all of its stats, and you can learn about that alluvial. It's going to be really cool. It's going to be one of those websites where you can just go to and just spend hours on just looking around.
Yeah, I think specifically it's going to be easier to trick people into trying the game without realizing it's an NFT game by doing stuff like that. So that'll be interesting to see.
I think it was basically other than that, they obviously talked about the roadmap and the open beta and PvP, but we kind of touched on that already. Anything else before we move on to this next topic?
No, I think we're good. Let's go.
So, I'm sure if you've been watching this, I'm like an iPhone guy. I like that whole Apple ecosystem. So they just announced the new iPhone 15s and the iPhone 15 Pro, and they had the whole Apple event that I watched. And it wasn't a very long, detailed segment, but they probably spent about, 3 or 4 minutes talking about like mobile gaming on the iPhone 15. And they were specifically talking about full console PC games being played on an iPhone. How you can link up I think it showed a PS5 controller or an Xbox controller, and you can play like a full console game. And another thing I've expressed a lot, I would love to see Overworld on mobile. And a lot of people say it's not realistic. At least with this iPhone 15, it looks like it could be realistic. It's definitely not something they're talking about now or anything coming soon. But what do you think? If these phones are capable of having the full experience on it, do you think the Overworld should come to like phones, mobile?
It depends. Like, if it's possible, that doesn't mean we should just do it. You also have to take into account how many people own this new phone that can use it in the overworld. Are those even the people that wouldn't just be able to play it on computer? Yes, I do want to play overworld on my phone. Just so we're clear, I'm just thinking maybe 5-10 years down the line, all of these phones are able to play overworld. In that case, obviously 100%, let's hurry it up. But other than that, I would say it depends on how fast we can get these kinds of phones in people's hands, especially in like third world countries.
Yeah, and that's along the lines of what I'm thinking. Like technology happens so quick that like even though this new iPhone is what's they're showing, oh, it's going to be able to play console level games in 2 years, all phones should be able to do this.
Yeah.
And if we're being realistic with Illuvium, if it ever comes to mobile, we're looking at 2+ years out. It's not something that would be happening right now, anyways. And the other thing that you gotta think about is, and I know this just from my experience with playing like Axie Infinity, there are a lot of people in countries like the Philippines and third world countries where they have decent phones that are like high quality phones like we have here, but a lot of them
Mm-hmm.
don't have like a PC or a computer, even like a cheap one. And the cheap ones may not be able to play Illuvium very well, anyways. So I actually think that they have a better chance of being able to play a game like that on mobile than a computer, which they probably don't have. And if they don't need it for anything other than playing the games, then they're probably not going to get it. I do think mobile is the future, and even with you can stream these to TVs anyways. So somebody could probably just have the game, playing on their phone, but having it streamed to a big screen TV, and it almost acts as like a little console.
Yeah, that's a really good point. That'll be fun to see. Like, even from my perspective, thinking about like, oh, now I don't even. If there was a game that I wanted to play on console, most of them are shit. But if there was, I would just be able to play it on my phone and put it on my TV. That's a very, very cool idea. Actually, it's not just a cool idea; it's an idea that would kill consoles. But that's a completely different
Yeah,
conversation.
I mean, you can already do that. It just hasn't been
Not to
more
this
like,
extent, though, right?
yeah, it
Like
hasn't
you can't
hit
you
like the
can't play
mainstream.
Assassin's Creed, like you said. Like you can't play
Yeah,
Assassin's Creed on your phone right now.
yeah, I mean, in this presentation, they literally they said that the newest Assassin's Creed game. I mean, I'm not up to date. I haven't really played that game, but whatever the newest one is, you'll be able to play the full console version on your iPhone 15. And I might download it just to see, how it works. But I also think like from something like an iPad, like I always use my iPad. If they're going to make it for a phone, it would likely be compatible with the iPad. And it would be great to just throw a controller in my bag with my iPad, and wherever I go, I want to, play some Overworld. Just set up my iPad, link up my controller, and just play from wherever I want.
Yeah, even for Arena, bro. Like Arena is gonna be on mobile.
Yeah,
I will be playing that on my like TV regardless,
yeah,
if I don't want to get up or whatever. But yeah, I could definitely see. n I mean, forget about Overworld on mobile. Like consoles are gonna die because of this technology. Am I
yeah.
wrong? Am I wrong to
No,
think that? Like consoles, what is the point of owning a console when your phone does everything for you?
yeah, I
You know
don't
what I
think they'll
mean?
have it. I think all of these, like Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, I think they'll end up coming up with maybe they'll even make their own smartphone or just something where they can just be compatible with a smartphone. Because, yeah, like you said, people are going to stop buying consoles when they know they can just play these same games right from their phone.
That's a really interesting thing. I hadn't even seen that until you showed me.
And I would love to see it. It a long ways away. I mean, who knows? When this next bull market hits, if this game really takes off and the coin shoots up crazy hundreds and hundreds of percentage, and then like Illuvium has all of this money that they can reinvest in, like
Hmm.
maybe they hire a whole team just to port it over to mobile. You never know what could happen like when the money comes in. Right now everything's tight. Everyone's talking about like the burn report and the roadmap
We're
and how
going to
much.
zero.
Yeah, like there's so much FUD right now, but in 2 years from now, anything, we could be freaking all millionaires. Who
We'll
knows?
be on a yacht. Don't worry. Don't worry, bro.
Yeah,
Buy IOV, you'll be on a yacht. Just kidding. That's not
yeah.
financial advice.
No, we'll be playing Illuvium, the auto battler, against each other on our iPhones, sipping our tequila on a yacht.
It's gonna be a good time. I can't wait.
Me neither. All right, so let's move on. This is a topic for you mostly because you are the sponsor of an ICCP for the blackout, which basically the original IIP was so that council members and team members from Illuvium can't use insider information to trade ILV, SILV, SILV2 or any NFTs within the ecosystem. If we have like insider information where we know something's going to get buffed, so we buy it and then try to sell it for a profit, it makes sense. I had my own issues with it. I don't want to get too much into that. I was the only one who didn't approve the original IIP, but it got passed anyways. If you really want to see my opinion, I, in the council chambers, gave my opinion on that. But now that that's passed, there are going to be ICCPs built on top of that to kind of clear some things up. So you're the sponsor of this ICCP. Do you want to just give us a quick rundown of what it is, and then I have some questions for you.
Okay, so the way that the blackout proposal is worded right now, if we were to want to play the game, and let's say Ramfire was getting a buff, as soon as you get that information, the blackout period starts, you can't buy any Ramfires whatsoever. Now, what I tried to do with this ICCP trading blackout is the main purpose is to, one, allow council members to play the game freely so that we have people applying for council that we would want there, specifically on game, possibly on strategy or marketing and community, but it'll mostly affect the game. And more importantly is if we have some kind of streamer, YouTuber, content creator, we don't want them to be like, oh, we were going to go catch alluvials today, but we can't I can't buy this or that shard. Or let me try to think of a better example. If you needed to round out a team with this specific alluvial, and the blackout attaches itself to that alluvial, everybody's instantly going to know. So it's to, one, allow council members to play the game, and two, so that the community can't guess what the blackout asset is, because that would be a tragedy. And the way the original proposal is worded right now, I believe every single time there was a blackout, people would be able to guess what it is. Personally, I feel like people genuinely would be able to figure it out. So the way I have it set up is council members can't delist assets, blackout related assets, if they're already up on the market during the blackout period. An additional 30 minutes after the release of the information. So like at the end of the blackout, they release the information that's regarded to that blackout. So Ramfire is getting a buff. We let the people know that Ramfire is getting a buff, but just specifically for this situation and in this ICCP, we have a 30-minute period of time after the release of information to the public where you still cannot trade that asset. And then lastly, trading limitations during the blackout. Council members will have a $500 value limit. So I could buy $500 worth of Ramfires, but I can't sell anymore, or I could buy $350 worth of Ramfires and sell 150. Basically the point of this is so that, say I'm streaming and I need that Doka or Ramfire or whatever to round out my team. Now I can buy that, and it's uninterrupted gameplay, so the council members can play, and the people watching my stream will not know which alluvial is the blackout alluvial. And you'd be like, well, how do they know if they're going to get a buff or a nerf? If something has a 45% win rate, it's going to get a buff. If something has a 55, 56, 7% win rate, it's going to get a nerf. It was very, very, very obvious to anybody with any gaming knowledge and competitive play to know what is going to be going on there. So that is why that is in place.
All right. So we just had a little bit of a discussion on this earlier. I was more listening in, but I'm gonna challenge you on a couple things here. So you have the $500 limit. Let's say an Atlas is just sitting on the floor for $1. Say you can get an Atlas for $1. Now, if I know Atlas is getting a buff and I go out and I buy 300 Atlas off the floor, like that's within that $500, but it's what do I need 500 Atlas for or 300 Atlas for? It would be pretty clear that I would be buying that and hoping that the price goes up for me to flip it. But it would be within that $500. So is there a way where somebody could get called out on something like that, or is it you're within the $500 so you're good to go?
No, it's not a $500 insider trading limit. It is so insider trading of any kind. Like if I were to do that, it would be very obvious I was insider trading and trying to go within this limit. I would say personally, and this part is a little bit tricky, and I would be willing to change it a little bit possibly. But the way I would view it as it's currently written is, sure, you're within that limit, but you also did not have good intent towards the DAO. You were
Yeah.
insider trading. That's not good intent. That's pretty black and white.
All
And
right.
that's written into GovV2.
Yeah, and that makes sense. In like you said, the main goal is that people like me and you who are going to be playing the game, and we're also sitting on the council, can just play the game as normal as possible without it really affecting us.
Yeah.
Like it's not to give us a limit of what kind of trading we're allowed to do. It's just so that if I need, let's say I have, I don't know what you need. I have 12 Atlas and I really want to fuse them all together to get this Axodon. Atlas is now in the trading blackout. Well, it's pretty obvious that if I want this Axodon, I just need one more Atlas. I could buy that off of the market because it's something that I would probably do anyways for normal gameplay. So it's to allow normal gameplay to happen, but not allow you to take advantage of it with the insider information. Correct?
Exactly. And this isn't just council members crying like, "Oh, I want to play the game." Like we understand that the council is important. It's also like let's not underestimate how easy this would be to how easy this would tip off the community. I promise you. Like anybody with any competitive experience understands 45% win rate. Illuvial is getting a buff if I'm not allowed to buy that on stream. You know what I mean? Like I really do think the community would figure out what the blackout asset would be otherwise.
Yeah, well, I'm excited to see if this gets through or if there's any changes that need to be made before, it comes up to a vote. Like I said, originally I wasn't big on it, but the original IIP passed, so now we just need to have these ICCPs in place to, reinforce the goal of the original IIP, but also, improve it, obviously, because we want everybody on the council and team to be able to participate in this ecosystem without feeling like they're being held back by this. And also encourage in future epochs, a really good player who would be really good for the game council. We don't want them to say, "Oh, I don't want to be on the council because I'm going to be restricted from playing the game normally." That's about it, right?
Yep. Not much else to it. It's not this super flashy proposal. It's kind of boring, to be honest. This is like the boring governance thing. But hey, please, if you're listening, go look at it on the Discord. It only has 15 likes, no dislikes. So let's get some engagement going.
Yeah.
I know it's boring, but
it's just not getting out there. Yeah, exactly. It's a boring topic. I don't think many people, honestly, I don't think many people care too much for it.
I wouldn't if I would look at it and like not care, but I would understand the need for it.
Yeah. And I'm kind of on the other side of it where I'm just like, this is crypto. Anyone can just make an anonymous wallet and do insider trading on a different wallet anyways and probably get away with it.
I will say that's true, but and I don't want to go into it, but I do think there are surprisingly good ways to figure out who would be insider trading. But I'll leave that up to your imagination, and I'll tell you after.
Yeah. No, I mean, I figured, like, there are definitely ways. Somebody could really track of, like, they find some wallet that bought all these NFTs and they're like, oh, well, if you bought all of that on this anonymous wallet, you must have some insider information. So then they can already kind of like start using that wallet as like it's somebody on the team or council. And you could track it back far enough. I'm sure you could, but I do think
let's not give them any ideas.
Huh?
Let's not give them any ideas.
Hey, the smart people who want to hack the system are gonna do it, and they're probably gonna get away with it. That was my whole part about it. It was just like, I'm gonna get in trouble randomly from just playing the game normal, while somebody else is gonna be
exactly.
being malicious about it and getting away with it.
Yeah.
But
We want to protect our council members so we can get the
yeah,
best council members possible.
yeah, and I understand why it is needed. But yeah, so pay attention in the Discord governance channel. You'll see what happens with this. Maybe it comes to a vote sometime soon. But all right, let's move on to our fifth but last topic. So I wanted to change it up a little bit from Illuvium today, and just talk quickly about Mavia. So Mavia is another game that or Web3 game I've been making some content on. I'm not too big on it. I would say if I'm 95% in Illuvium, maybe I'm 5% in Mavia. But they really just flipped the whole script right now. They had the original white paper out for over maybe close to 2 years. They sold 10,000 plots of land. They had this model where you could buy these hero NFTs, and they would actually make your troops stronger, your defense stronger, and they completely flipped the whole thing. It's a whole new change up to the white paper where now they're focusing on like the Web 2 audience and getting mass adoption. The free to play players can still earn this in game currency just the same as the landowners. The only difference between a free to play player and a landowner now is that you can earn more of this in game currency. And the other thing is that it's just an in game currency, it's not a crypto. In order for you to get any, say, return from this, you need to buy the NFTs, which in this new model are all cosmetic NFTs. So they're not the heroes that make your troops stronger. It's just basically skins. So you'd have to buy the skins with that ruby, that in-game token, and then hope that you could sell those skins for a higher price to some of these free-to-play players. Now, there's a lot of people who don't like this because they bought the land thinking it was going to be one system, and now they're kind of flipping the whole script. But there is potential for this new model to really get that mass adoption. And they could either be limiting themselves to 10,000 people playing the game, or they can open it up to millions possibly playing this game. So I can see both sides of things, but I mean, hearing that, what do you think about it?
So I don't know much about the situation, and I don't know much about Mavia, so I'm not gonna crucify their devs or anything. But from the way it sounds, just how you described it, seems like a bit of a rug to me. Honestly, that's kind of shitty practice. If you said that it was going to be one thing and now it's going to be a completely different thing, that's kind of fucked up, especially when people already bought their land thinking that it was going to be this or that way. I mean, I much prefer this model, but it should have been that way from the beginning. It's like, here, this is how it seems, and I'm not saying this is how it happened because I don't know anything about this situation, just hearing it. It's, hey, let's to market towards Web3. And now that we have all the money from Web3 and all the backing, now let's market towards Web2 so we can get a bigger player base. And I also see this as like a high risk, very high risk move, because you could just piss off all your Web3 players and now you don't have any players because the game failed to capture the Web2's like attention. But you could have just had like a decent player base with all Web3 players. Does that make sense?
I think that some people have brought that up. I mean, this is something I was thinking of too. Is if they're really going to push the whole Web 2 thing and trying to be like mainstream, I mean, let's be real. This game is kind of a copy of Clash of Clans. So if they're going to go to the same audience that the Clash of Clans is looking at, I think Clash of Clans is going to win every time. I don't see many people choosing Mavia over Clash of Clans just because it's a better game. I see them choosing Mavia over Clash of Clans because it's a Web3 game and there's a potential to actually, earn something from it and have NFTs. So now you're competing directly with Clash of Clans instead of being in like a separate market there. So I think there are some issues there. But to be fair to the team, I personally think they had a model that they thought was the best model. We went through a deep bear market where a lot of people lost interest in the Web3, and then they came up with another model that they now think is the best model. It doesn't look very good because they sold all the land based on the original model. But I think in their eyes, long term, this change is better for the future of the game. But I completely understand why people who bought land, especially guilds or whales who bought a lot of land, are pissed off right now. I'm still in the boat of I need to find more information to see if I like the change or not. I'm sitting in the middle, but it's tough because we went through a bear market and a lot of people left the Web3 space, so they're trying to make changes to appease the general audience, I guess.
I don't know. I don't know how to feel about it because I don't know enough about it, but it sounds a little sketchy.
Yeah. I mean, if we
I
want to
don't know.
compare it to like Illuvium, think about say Illuvium just came out and they said, all right, so all of the alluvials are you can catch for free. The only thing is that if you pay to go to a region, you can like catch them with different, more rare skins on them or something like that. So when it comes to the competition, PvP, everybody's going to be on that equal playing field. But if you want to pay, you now have these cool looking skins.
Yeah,
When you think
our
about it that
community would
way,
be pissed.
I'd be pissed. I would hate that. And
I would fucking riot.
that's basically what Mavia did, to my understanding.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see how that goes. I make some videos on this every once in a while. I did make one recently that I put out this past week. So if you're interested, go check out those videos. I'm probably still gonna make one here and there because I don't want to be 100% Illuvium. Most of my eggs are in this basket, but it's nice to throw one or two eggs in a different basket.
Yeah.
Um,
You should see if you could get one of their devs on for an AMA.
Yeah, I actually talk to their marketing person every once in a while in DMs, and at one point we were trying to put one together, and now after this change, I think I'll try to do that again,
For
just to
sure.
get an
That'd be
idea of
interesting.
So yeah, I'll try to do that, and I'm still hoping as time goes on, other games will pop up that I might be interested in. Illuvium is still, like I said, this is my long term play. I'm gonna be playing this until I'm 55 and retired, but I'll have other things here and there that I dabble into. That concludes this episode. I think it was a pretty good one. I like that we shortened things up. We just talked about topics that actually we could have some depth to. All right. So thanks for watching. Like the video. Go subscribe to Jimberino on YouTube, on Twitch. Once PvP does come out, he's going to be doing a lot of stuff on Twitch, I'm sure. But that's it. Peace.
See you, bald bitches.
See you later.